Imagine being asked to step into one of the most legendary positions in rock history, not just replacing any drummer, but following Neil Peart, a musician whose incredible technique, songwriting, and massive 360-degree drum setup became symbols of an entire generation of progressive rock. Then imagine making a surprising decision. You don't use his famous 360-degree drum cage. At first, many fans believed Anika Nilles rejected Neil Peart's iconic setup because she wanted to distance herself from his legacy. Others assumed it was an attempt to modernize Rush or simply do things her own way. But the real story is much more thoughtful and far more respectful. The truth is that Anika never wanted to replace Neil Peart. She wanted to honor him without pretending to be him. That difference changes everything. When Geddy Lee and Lifeson began searching for someone to join them on the 50-something tour, they weren't looking for a Neil Peart clone. They knew no one could truly replace the man who had helped define Rush for nearly 5 decades. Instead, they searched for someone with extraordinary musicianship who could respect the music while bringing genuine personality to the stage. Anika quickly became their first and only serious choice, but accepting the job came with enormous pressure. Every fill, every drum break, every solo, and even every piece of equipment would be compared to Neil's. Fans weren't just watching a drummer. They were watching someone step into one of rock's most impossible roles. To understand Anika Nilles' decision, we first need to understand what Neil Peart's famous 360-degree drum setup really meant. Many people remember it because it spun during Rush concerts, creating one of the most unforgettable visual moments in rock history. But the rotating platform wasn't built simply to impress audiences. It was designed around Neil himself. Over the years, Neil constantly redesigned his kit to match the way he played. Every drum, cymbal, percussion instrument, and electronic pad had a specific purpose. As his musical style evolved, so did his setup. By the later years of Rush, his rotating drum platform allowed him to switch between 2 complete playing positions, one focused on traditional acoustic drums and the other featuring electronic drums and percussion. It was a practical solution that also became an iconic part of Rush's live shows. For Neil, the drum cage wasn't a symbol of ego. It was an extension of his musical identity. That's exactly why Anika Nilles understood she shouldn't simply copy it. Throughout her career, Anika has built a reputation for developing her own voice. She is known for her unique grooves, creative phrasing, and highly musical approach, rather than trying to imitate other drummers. She has often spoken in interviews about the importance of finding your own sound instead of becoming a copy of your heroes. When Anika Nilles became involved with the 50-something tour, she understood that the biggest challenge wasn't just learning difficult drum parts. It was earning the confidence of Geddy Lee and Lifeson. Those songs had been performed with Neil Peart for more than 40 years. Every arrangement, every transition, and every dynamic shift had been shaped by the chemistry the 3 musicians built together over decades. No drummer could recreate that history, and Geddy and Alex weren't expecting anyone to. In interviews about moving forward after Neil's passing, both musicians have made it clear that Neil was irreplaceable. Any future performances would have to respect his legacy while accepting that no one else could ever be him. That mindset helped shape their approach to choosing a drummer. They wanted someone who could honor the music without trying to imitate Neil's entire identity. Anika fit that vision perfectly. Her technical ability was never in doubt. She had already earned worldwide respect through her original compositions, educational videos, clinics, and performances with artists across different genres. But what impressed Geddy and Alex even more was her musical maturity. She focused on serving the songs. That meant keeping Neil's iconic drum parts where they mattered most, while also allowing the performance to feel natural through her own touch, timing, and dynamics. Instead of delivering an impression of Neil Peart, she delivered an honest performance inspired by his work. That approach extended to the equipment she chose. By not using Neil's famous 360-degree drum cage, Anika reinforced the message that this wasn't about replacing a legend. The spotlight remained on the music and on celebrating Rush's incredible catalog, not on recreating every visual element from the past. As news spread that Anika Nilles would be performing with Geddy Lee and Lifeson, fan reactions were mixed. That wasn't surprising. Rush fans are famously passionate, and many felt protective of Neil Peart's legacy. Some wondered if anyone should sit behind the drums at all. Others questioned whether a different drum setup, and especially the absence of Neil's iconic 360-degree drum cage, would make the performances feel incomplete. Those concerns were understandable. For decades, Neil's rotating kit had been part of the Rush concert experience. Seeing it on stage became almost as memorable as hearing classics like Tom Sawyer, Limelight, and YYZ. To many fans, the drum cage represented not just a piece of equipment, but a visual reminder of Neil's creativity and dedication to his craft. But as rehearsals and performances unfolded, something began to change. Fans saw that Anika wasn't trying to imitate Neil's every move. She wasn't copying his expressions, his stage presence, or his exact setup. Instead, she approached the music with deep preparation, precision, and genuine respect. That authenticity resonated. Rather than feeling like a tribute act, the performances felt like a celebration of Rush's music by musicians who understood what made it special. Anika played the parts with care, while allowing her own musical personality to come through in subtle ways. For many fans, that balance was exactly what the moment called for. Even those who initially questioned the missing 360-degree drum cage began to see it differently. Its absence wasn't a sign that Neil's legacy had been forgotten. It was a reminder that his legacy was unique, something that belonged to him alone. As the performances continued, one message became increasingly clear. The best way to honor Neil Peart wasn't to recreate every detail of his stage setup. It was to preserve the spirit behind his music. Throughout his career, Neil believed in constant growth. He rarely stood still as a musician. He refined his technique, explored new styles, and regularly redesigned his drum kit to match where his creativity was taking him. He never wanted to become a copy of his younger self. That philosophy makes Anika Nilles' decision even more meaningful. Instead of stepping into Neil's exact visual image, she approached the music the way a true artist would, with preparation, humility, and her own musical voice. She respected the original drum parts that fans know and love, while recognizing that pretending to be Neil would never feel authentic. Geddy Lee and Lifeson have consistently emphasized that Neil was irreplaceable. Their goal has never been to erase that reality, but to celebrate the songs they created together. Every performance becomes a tribute to the friendship and musical bond they shared for more than 4 decades. In that context, the missing 360-degree drum cage takes on a new meaning. It isn't an empty space. It's a symbol. It quietly reminds audiences that Neil Peart's place in Rush's history can never truly be filled. His influence remains present in every song, every lyric, and every unforgettable drum part, even if someone else is sitting behind a different kit. Sometimes, the most powerful tribute isn't trying to recreate the past.